This image you are seeing right now is an art concept of a space colony by Rick Guidance for NASA in the 1970s. And it's a truly remarkable piece of artwork for the vision they wanted to build before the 2000s, which boggles my mind because if that was possible with geoengineered clouds, perhaps even simulating the sun itself, I mean, imagine what could have been by now.
Several years ago, a professor at Princeton named Gerard O'Neill conceived of the idea of putting large colonies in space, large artificial places where people could live and work.
This is Torus, the concept that has evolved from the work of these teams of scientists and engineers. They believe the huge space colony could be built before the year 2000.
And what we did was to gather together a group of university people to look at the problem of how you would start this whole endeavor, of how you'd build the very first colony. The space colony has the ability to provide a facility in space where human beings can conduct fruitful industry.
Constructed almost entirely from ore mined on the moon, the Torus colony would become home for 10,000 people. They would live, work, and be protected within a vast wheel more than a mile in diameter. The Earth-like environment would even simulate our gravity as the wheel revolves once each minute.
And this is the model of Torus colony, and a remarkable engineering feat, once thought possible, and actually still is, was the vision they had in mind at the time. And I wonder what else was possible.
The other materials like food and water are maintained locally within the colony. The amount of sunlight that is present in every square mile of space is enormous, and that provides enormous energy. One of the things that one can do is to build very large solar power stations which collect sunlight, and to use that power either at the colony or to transmit it to Earth in the form of a microwave beam where it is collected on Earth and put into the ordinary electrical power system.
From dairy farms to manufacturing, the concept of living and working in space is a possibility with existing technology.
The initial supplies are brought up from Earth, and then eventually the colony becomes self-sustaining. We got the agricultural system designed so that we could actually feed 10,000 people in an area of just a little over 100 acres. This is very, very, very efficient. We did it by utilizing the sunlight that's available all the time in space, by optimizing the temperatures, by not having storms or things like that that damage crops. And we increased the carbon dioxide levels a little bit so the plants grow a little faster. By playing all these tricks, we were able to generate this fairly efficient farm in our design. The materials for the colony and for the power station largely come from the moon. It is much cheaper to haul the materials from the lunar surface than it is to bring things up from the Earth because of the difference of gravities. And so it is the abundance of good material for building aluminum structures and glass structures in space that come from the moon that make the idea work.
In the book, The High Frontier Human Colonies in Space, by Gerard K. O'Neill, it talks about the roadmap for what was next for space exploration, which was going to be on the moon and beyond. Through the book, it explains how humans would inhabit nearby these Lagrange points with space colonies constructed using raw materials from the lunar surface, launched into space using a mass driver and from near-Earth asteroids.
There are places in space between the Earth and the moon called the libration points. And these are places basically where the gravity from the moon and the gravity from the Earth cancel each other out, and an object placed at that location remains there and doesn't drift off. They're called L4 and L5. There are two of them, one before the moon and one on the trailing side of the moon.
And so, this summarizes what NASA in the 1970s roadmap was going to be for the next space frontier. I'm just so thankful and grateful to compile all this together and share it with you, and hopefully one day we will come to understand what is truly out there, waiting to be discovered.